further than just the Select Committee stage.
I call Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. And I'm very pleased to stand in support of this bail amendment bill. But, Mr Speaker, I have been a bit disturbed by some of the comments that I've heard in the House today, namely from Mr Farfoy and Mr Goff. I've heard political spin from both of them, which is a bit disappointing. And then I spent most of the time listening to Mr Goff telling us about how much he'd done in relation to sharpening up bail laws. But the fact of the matter is, Mr Goff, you didn't do enough, because that's why we have this bail amendment bill in the House now, to fix the gaping gaps that were obviously there. Then I had to listen to Metere Ture from the Green Party come in here and become flippant about burglaries. I have to say that burglaries affect a lot of households around New Zealand. You shouldn't diminish the impact that they have on people. A burglar can quickly turn into a murderer or a rapist. And it really disturbs me that we have members of this House that are coming in here and don't really take public safety that seriously. Well, that's how it appears to me. I just want to talk to one part of this bill, and I just want to actually relate a story that's personal to me. And it's about a young 12-year-old girl that lived in Gisborne and had been sexually assaulted and abused by a stepfather. The stepfather this came to light, unfortunately the abuse had gone on for a few years. This came to light, the police investigated, he was arrested and charged, and he was later let out on bail. The young girl was on her way to school one day, and he waited for her and picked her up outside the school and drove her to the top of Gadham's Hill, where he was a pig hunter, and he got his knife out and he stabbed her and stuck her like a pig and killed her. And this is exactly what he said afterwards. He was proud of what he'd done. I just have to say, Mr Speaker, that one of these changes relates directly to this young girl who today would have been 22, could well have been married, started her own family. She's not here with us, obviously, anymore. But when a defendant was charged with a serious violent or sexual offence and has a previous history of sexual violent or sexual offending, a reverse burden of proof will apply. That's all very well, Mr Speaker, but how are we actually going to protect this 12-year-old girl? She was 12 at the time. Well, I'll tell you how we're going to do it with this bill. Is the government is extending the list of serious violent and sexual offences that qualify a defendant to be subjected to a reverse burden of proof to include sexual conduct with a child under 12. With this amendment, she would have had the protection that she needed to have been here with us today. Sexual conduct with a young person under 16. Kidnapping. And we're all aware there's a very high profile case at the moment with the loss of another young lady that I can't speak about because it's still before the courts. Kidnapping, including abduction for the purpose of marriage or sexual connection. Aggravated burglary. We come back to the point that a burglary can turn very quickly from an innocent burglary into an aggravated burglary, into a sexual assault, even into a murder. Assault with intent to rob. So, Mr Speaker, it's with great pride that I get to stand here today and support this bill. And as a member of the Law and Order Select Committee, I look forward to the bill coming to the Select Committee, and I stand in support of it. Thank you.
I understand the next call is a split call. I'll ring the bell with a minute to go. Charles Chabelle.